Welcome to another week of The Achievers. I am Chimar Mikhail. Now this week we feature Samuel Coates, Chairman and Managing Director of Coates Logistics Limited, sharing with us his phenomenal story. Mr. Coates, welcome to The Achievers.
Thank you for having me.
Some time ago, Mr. James had an interview with you sharing your story. Just to update the viewers, what has Coates been up to these days? What are some of the changes that have been made in the company?
I just wanted to share a little story before I get into the details of Coates Logistics. I was interviewed a couple of years ago by Owen, and it was myself, Aldian Reed, and Gordia. We're just newly elected executive of the Young Entrepreneurs Association. Aldian being the president, I being the vice president, and first vice president, Gordia being the second vice president. And the story I'd like to share is that when we did that interview, I didn't have an office. I was operating from home, and I remember I had a farm in St. Elizabeth, and Owen wanted to come and feature all of the various offices, and he was able to feature the other offices. And he really wanted to assist me, so I said he would come to the farm, but unfortunately the farm was all the way in St. Elizabeth, so it would be a very long drive. Now I must say that I'm happy to say that I'm now being interviewed from my own office, so I've made progress over the years. Yeah. But as it states, Coates Logistics is a logistics company. We are into logistics solutions. Some of what we do, we are into imports, we're into exports, we're into haulage, we're into the entire thing of freight forwarding. We're also consultants as it relates to purchasing and negotiating contracts and stuff like that. Also, Coates Logistics, we just don't see ourselves as the typical run-of-the-mill custom broking company. We recently completed our ISO 9000 certification by the National Certification Board of Jamaica. We're classified as a world-class contender as a company by JAMPRO. We're also a Tier 1 custom broker with Jamaica Customs. So I must say that our company is a cut above the rest, and what we do is to ensure that our customers are satisfied and exceeding their expectations.
The company has been around a number of years. What has the industry been like since perhaps 3-4 years ago? Has there been any changes, any new competitions on the market?
There are significant changes within the industry. We are coming out of a worldwide recession. There are always new entrants to the industry, and there's also persons exiting the industry. The difference with Coates is that we don't look at industry standards or look at the industry in particular to plan our strategies in terms of how we'll execute our plans going forward. While there might be a decline in the industry, there are companies that are doing well. And I'm happy to say that Coates Logistics continue to grow at double digit throughout the recession, because our company is not about just custom broking. I'm trained in finance, I'm trained in business, so my background oftentimes tell people that I'm a businessman, I'm a strategist. So my company is not one of those companies that work for any and anybody. My company is into niche. We consider ourselves a commercial broker, and we also consider ourselves a high-end broker. It's not that we don't cater for other persons, it's not that we're priced out of the market. Doesn't mean that we're not competitive, but we look at a particular segment of the market and we decide what is it that we want to do. So instead of having 100 clients on our books, we might have 20 or 30 that we'll be able to service effectively, and as such we'll be remunerated for our services. I do the contrast between like a Rolls Royce. Oftentimes say that our companies like the Rolls Royce of custom broking. They make very few cars, but they're profitable. Unlike other low-end cars, they may cater for everybody. But this is not to say to the viewing public that we don't cater for anybody, but we're kind of strategic into what we're doing, and we look at high growth areas, and that is why we're able to survive the recession. And there are other persons who I know have gone out of business, and there are other persons who have to consolidate and all that. But part of the thing is that you have to have long-term strategies, not just short-term strategies. Some of the strategies that have worked for us, we have a very highly interactive website, and one of the best within the industry, I'm told. We get a lot of overseas work as well. Persons, log on to our website, read up on what we have to offer, also our client testimonial, and can really identify with a professional organization as such, and they give us a lot of business. So throughout the recession and the early stage, we got a lot of overseas work, representing agents, representing private companies who have clients coming into Jamaica. So that was something that has helped us. As it relates to the world-class standing, the reason why we weren't classified, as a world-class company is because we don't know a lot of marketing. So we have been correcting that. So if a new audit should have been done now, then we would be considered world-class. We're strong into building the brand. Our vehicles are all logoed up, our website, other stuff that we do. We're building the brand Coats Logistics. So in another couple of years, Coats Logistics will be the #1 logistics company in Jamaica and within the Caribbean. Yeah.
You mentioned the recession and some of the strategies that the company used in order to alleviate the problems that the company was facing. But other than the recession, were there any other major challenges that Coats faced?
No, finance is always an issue. Once you're growing, you're going to always have issues. For example, this office, I own it. I don't rent it. And once you're seeking financing from the banks, they're willing to give you 50% and no more. So you have to dig deep into your cash flow or other resources in order to finance your growth. Part of the thing is that I'm not just a custom broker or a businessman per se, but I consider myself an investor. I have this property to be appreciating in wealth, in value over time, and as such, I see it also as an investment. If you're paying rent, then you're enriching the landlord and not yourself. So we're utilizing the physical space, and also our balance sheet has been strengthened by capital appreciation from the property. Also, human resource is also a challenge. It's always difficult to have the right people, human element around you. And throughout the period, I had to do some purging of a human personnel to ensure that I have the right team. Persons who will be seeing the vision going forward, persons who will subscribe to the strategies that we came up with and be able to execute these strategies. It's not about just having the strategies, but executing them. So two other challenges that I've had in recent times are finances to finance growth, and the human personnel as it relates to subscribing to the company culture and assisting the growth process.
With the globalized world that we now live in, customs brokers are considered actually a part of the supply chain. Is that more beneficial to business for you?
Yes, it is. We are considered, and you're right, part of the supply chain. We're an integrator, and also we're considered internal customers. So it's not about just you're just working for a company. Companies depend on you in order for you to deliver, in order for them to deliver, because you are the expertise, you are the specialist in that particular field. So if somebody needs something from China or India, you must identify the shipper there, identify the local agent, and quote in terms of the cheapest rate and the fastest way they can get it here. So it's important that we play a very integral role in terms of the personalization of our services. We also consider ourselves not just an internal customer to our clients, but also a part of their business, because we depend on their business to grow for us to grow. So the common sense in all of this is that if they grow, we grow. So we try to assist in terms of cost-cutting measures, see how efficiently we can get their stuff here in Jamaica. And one of the other things you're looking at is just-in-time inventory. We have a lot of persons not having large warehouses anymore, and persons are tying up their capital and stocking goods. What they're doing, they say, okay, my minimum stock level is X, I need to have an order here in terms of setting up standing orders with their suppliers, and having the stuff reaching Jamaica and be cleared in a timely and efficient manner. And that's where we come in.
Samuel Coates, Managing Director and Chairman of Coates Logistics Limited, making quite a tremendous impact in the business sphere. Tune in next week for part 2 of his phenomenal story. For The Achievers, I'm Tamar McHale.